Hi, you guys. Okay, after I finished the other one, I remembered a tiny bit that I didn't say, and that was the person that I talked about last video who has overcome so much in her life. She now, her heart desire, her mission for her life is to make a safe house for anybody. That's because she had come through so much. Anybody who was on abused, anybody who was on, pregnant and rejected, anybody who was on, running away from a crack house, anything. That's her mission. So I love it when God turns something that is so bad into something good, and that people are able just to take their own pain and hurt and be healed and then help others. That's what he's all about. But anyway, okay, so here I am. This is one of my exercise outfits. But so I guess without trying to, I'm making a little advertisement here for Planet Fitness. Man, Planet Fitness is amazing. We love it. And also LA Fitness we love too. But okay, so I am gonna tell you some of the stories of going out on missions, not just being in the place where you learn and study and all that, but then actually taking what you learn out onto the streets. And so now I gotta say, it's YWAM, Youth with a Mission, and me. Nobody is out to convert anybody. The heart is never to try to change anybody's religion. Our heart is just because God meets people where they are, and our heart is just to represent Him right, tell what He's done for us, and then to what are you doing with your hand, Jose? It's bugging me. What are you doing?
I'm trying to block water.
Oh, you're blocking the water. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, and then to it was distracting me. Now, and then to pray that God would invade their space, invade their lives, to pour out His blessings upon them. That's all it's about. Okay, but anyway, so when we went on these little missions, when I talk about being a missionary or going on missions, that's what I'm talking about. It's not to try to convert anybody from anything. Okay, so you know me. I live in wanting experiences and wanting the actual kind of movie kind of thing to happen to me, right? So I had not changed, and here I started to read these books of people's life stories. For example, I read this one about this guy. It's called I think it's called For This Cross I'll Kill You, and then it was changed to the name of Bruco, and it's a guy who went into the actual jungles, right, and all by himself to try to find the different tribes and let them come to know the love of God. And so here he was out on these, the water's hitting us a little bit, but don't do that. Okay. But don't do that, then I can't think. Okay, sorry. Anyway, that's relationship with husband and wife. Okay. Okay, anyway, he went into the little jungles, the big jungles, willing just to love people in the most primitive way, right? And guess what happened? He got a spear going through him. One of the primitive people shot a spear at him. But then there was somebody in the tribe who got him and kind of protected him and nursed him back to health. I guess they had compassion on him. Anyway, here I was, full of these things. My goal now was to go into the darkest jungle and to be able just to have experiences like that. But guess what? I am so vain that the only reason, I didn't care if I got shot with a spear. The only reason why I changed my mind and didn't want to go was because, when I was about 19, I found a hard hair on my face, right? And so I plucked it out. And then more grew in. And I became addicted to plucking out hairs, hard hairs on my face, until right before I got married. I had electrolysis, thank God. But I had my to have my tool, my little tweezers with me wherever I went, because if not, I was gonna grow a beard. So my one fear of not being able to, my one fear of not going into the jungle wasn't to get killed or hit by a sword. I was scared that if hair grows after you die, right? So I was scared that I would get speared to death, and then Jose's trying to keep himself from laughing, that I would get speared to death and lay there with a beard growing out of my face, because hair grows after you die, and when I'm finally found, I'll be the bearded woman. That was my fear. So anyway, I gave up my desire to go into the jungle because I didn't want to end up being known as, in my death, as the bearded woman, right? But then I read other books like wonderful, wonderful people's life stories of, oh, you gotta read this one if ever you get a chance. It's called The Hiding Place. And this lady was, I'm just going to tell this story, and then I guess that'll be the end, and I'll tell some of my experiences a different time. Okay, let me tell this story. Okay, there was a lady. She's now gone on to be with the Lord. Her name is Corrie ten Boom, and she was from the Netherlands. Hi to my wonderful Netherlands people out there. I give Jewel a shout out, and I forget. I've got somebody else that I forget. Remind me, and I'll tell you next. Give a shout out next time. But anyway. She was about 40 years old during the times when the Nazis invaded the Netherlands, right? And she was from a wonderful Christian family, and and the father was old, and she had an older sister. They had never been married, and they made clocks or something like that. They fixed watches, something like that. They had a nice business. But anyway, they started to hide the Jewish people, to take care of them and hide them, and that's why it's called The Hiding Place. But guess what? One day, the Nazis came in and discovered them, and so then they were taken to the worst concentration camp. I think it's called Auschwitz or something like that. Sorry if I said it wrong. And they were taken to the worst one. And so this is a story about forgiveness, because wait till you hear what happened. Okay, so anyway, Corrie, who was stronger than her sister was a bit older than her, watched as this one cruel guard beat her sister to death. But before even that happened, they saw miracles. For example, Corrie told a story that she was so upset and angry because there was lice everywhere. But then she realized, you see, she had snuck in. God had hidden when they were all naked and stuff. You know how they did in the beginning when they had to take their initial baths? Corrie had been able to hide in pure view. It's like God blinded the eyes of the guards, and she was able to get in a small little Bible. And then, so then later on, she would in her little dorm, her big dorm, give Bible studies, words of hope and encouragement to these ladies in there who were suffering so desperately and even dying before her eyes. And they would take hope from the Bible and read it to God, read it and stuff together. But anyway, they were full of lice. But then all of a sudden, God showed Corrie that had been a protection, so that they could look at the Bible and get hope, because the guards wouldn't come in to their lice-infested room. And so they were able to hold the Bible studies. Another miracle that happened during that time was she had been able to sneak in a tiny little thing of vitamins, liquid vitamins. And you know what? It never, as much as they used it, it kept being filled up. It never went empty. This is true. This is true. Believe it. But anyway, notice I didn't say believe it or not, because I want you to believe it. But anyway, so then, I'm almost done because I know the time's running long. But then what happened was Corrie saw her sister being beaten to death before her eyes. And then eventually, by an accident, Corrie had, they all had numbers, and her number was accidentally called. It wasn't supposed to have been called. And she got out after her sister died. And I think her father in the man's camp and some other relatives died too. But anyway, so then later on, she became a woman who was asked to speak after the war. She was asked to speak and give hope to people about what had happened to her. Well, anyway, one day she was in Germany, and it had a bunch of people that she was speaking to about forgiveness, right? And so she went on and taught all about forgiveness and how it's so important to forgive. Well, guess what happened? At the end of it, she was greeting people, and all of a sudden, the guard who had been instrumental in killing her sister came up and had her hand outreached for Corrie to shake it, and she said, "Thank you. I'm so grateful that you are able to forgive." Well, in that instant, all the hate that was in Corrie's heart rose up within her, and she thought, "This is impossible. I could never, ever, 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 ever forgive this woman." And then she heard God or something say to her. In that instant, he said, "If you reach out and take her hand and forgive, I, God, will fill you with love and forgiveness." And she chose, and she reached out, and she shook the hand of this guard who had been instrumental in killing her sister. And in that moment, her heart was filled with love. Her heart was filled with forgiveness, and all of the hate, resentment, and bitterness were gone. Well, anyway, I've gone on a long time, but I love you guys, and dream big and go for it.